Hey, coach, I understand it's never just like one thing, right? But if you were going to say, like, is there a common trend in terms of what you've seen in these first two games as to why things maybe aren't clicking for you guys yet offensively that you've seen?
Yeah, I think the common trend or thread is probably two. I mean, it's very obvious we're not finishing drives. You know, I think we moved the ball up and down the field pretty well the other night and got nothing hardly to show for it. We got great field position, and we're not producing any results at the end, which is it's a result driven sport, business, life, world. I mean, doesn't matter if I think 8 of our 12 drives we passed the 40-yard line. And didn't score very many points. So we're not finishing drives. I think on a couple of those, I know we got a holding call on one that really hurt us. We got a pass interference, and there were good calls. I mean, they were the correct calls that really hurt us. Two times we got around the 20-yard line. We didn't execute a play. One time, if we hand it off, I think Cam's probably going to walk in. Instead, we don't. And so it's probably a combination of some untimely, a pass interference or a holding. Those are hard hustle errors. I mean, it's not like a guy's jumping off sides or something. But those still were critical. And then we're not executing enough to finish the drives. We were more explosive the other night, but we're not getting explosive touchdowns. So we're having to sustain long drives and we're not finishing those drives. And so it can get obviously frustrating because you're not getting the results you need. And then one of them that was just really, really critical and really changed a lot of the course of the game was we score a touchdown on a 4th and 2 and it gets called back because we don't line up on the line of scrimmage. Those are things that are just uncalled for and unacceptable, and you can't have that.
I'm curious, how much do you like? It just seems like the run game maybe takes a little while to get going. How much is that having like a domino effect, maybe on, 3rd and longs and finishing in the red zone, like you're saying, maybe even getting into your tempo more like you would? Is that fair to say, or would you push back on that?
No, I mean, I think, the run game being effective helps you score in the red zone and finish better. Did we run the ball terrible the other night? No. Should we be able to run it better? Yes. I think, we probably ran for right at 200 yards until we lost all those yards delaying things. But, De'Eric had a lot to do with that too. So at times we ran it really well, and at times we were really inconsistent. And that consistency needs to show up for us.
The first one is the pace between snaps. Is it where you want it to be?
I don't know. I feel like we played pretty quick at times. I thought we were playing pretty fast the other night. And like I said, we were moving the ball up and down on the field. We just weren't finishing drives. But I have not noticed it not being fast enough, other than, if we throw an incompletion, the pace is obviously going to slow down. If we run the ball and get a no gain, it's going to slow down. I mean, there's things that slow tempo down in general. The first half of our first game, we didn't have any pace or tempo because we didn't have any rhythm. We weren't doing anything. But in that third quarter, we played pretty fast. The other night, I think we played with some pretty good tempo. I think when we were starting the second half, we ran almost 50 plays at the beginning of the second half. Again, we just weren't finishing drives.
And the second thing is, Will's only got 5 catches for, I forget, 30 yards or 25 yards, something like that so far this year. I know it's not as easy as saying, okay, we got to get Will Mallory the ball more, but what is that balance between wanting to get your tight end more involved versus, forcing the issue and not letting it, happen, kind of naturally?
We tried to throw him the ball the other night. I think first third down, we threw it to him and had him open, So I think it's a combination of a couple things. We got to make plays when it comes to him. Sometimes in the read, the ball doesn't go to him, but he's in the progression. I think it's kind of it kind of marries up with kind of where we are offensively right now. There's some things happening that are good, but there's not any results to show for it. And until we start getting those results, we're not going to be very satisfied with what we're doing. So I would like to think that if we start finishing with more touchdowns, and Will's going to start making more plays. He's a big part of what we're doing. We're not trying to throw him the ball, but I wouldn't overreact to the fact that he had 2 catches and then 3 catches. Cause like I said, the ball came his way some other times the other night. Either we didn't make the play or he was covered or he went somewhere else in the read.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Watching the game again, it looked like App State was dropping 8 guys in the coverage a whole lot. And I'm just curious how, you sort of gauge De'Eric's performance. He talked about running the ball a lot more, and I know that was probably by design, but just the way he's throwing the football and the way the passing game is operating, what do you see them doing right? What do you think is just not clicking in terms of the passing game?
I think the first couple drives the other night, he missed some throws that he knows he's got to make. He normally does make. Then I think he didn't start off as good as he'd like, but then he settled down and started making a lot of good throws. To your point, yes, they were either dropping 8, especially in the second half. First half, they were blitzing, but they were dropping their corners and their safeties and making us they were keeping everything in front of them. So we were completing a lot of balls, but for 10 yards, 15 yards, nothing very